Well, we're about to make a little bit of history, actually, because the next storyteller is actually the youngest storyteller ever to appear at the Moth. She is 14 years old. That's pretty cool. Wow. But she's a very precocious 14-year-old because she thinks that Ashton Kutcher sucks. No. I assume she does, because she seems like a very intelligent young lady. I asked her what she thought New York could do with that, and she said crime. So far, we've got terror threats and crime. You guys are like no fun at all. Isis Richardson.
When I got off the school bus that day, the same thought popped into my head. Why couldn't I be one of those kids in the park, running, playing tag, jumping double dutch, or even playing hopscotch? Man. But I was heading home to my usual routine. I was in the 7th grade, and the school I was enrolled in was pretty work intense. There was homework every day, and today was no exception. So I had to head home to hit the books. My usual routine was interrupted as I went to collect mail from the mailbox. There was a letter addressed to me. Now trust me, I don't usually get mail unless it's from either the story club or school related. I began to tear at the letter as I walked up the steps. This letter said that they wanted me to be in a beauty pageant. Now, at this time, I was pretty self-conscious. I didn't think that I was pretty. So I wanted to wonder who, what, when, where, why, and how, what they wanted with me. I wanted to know, why did they pick me? How did they think I was pretty? How did they even get my name? When I walked upstairs, I told my mother about the beauty pageant. And I asked her all these questions, and she said, junk mail. But I knew deep down in my heart, it was destined. I was supposed to be this, a model or win a beauty pageant. It was just something that I was supposed to do. Being naive, as we read through the brochure or the little card they sent us, it said that it would only be $20 to do the beauty pageant. So I told my mother, and she said, okay, $20, you know, we could do this, $20. And a few weeks later, they wrote back saying that now the beauty pageant was $380. Now, at this time, I thought to myself, $380? I thought it said $20, but the small print said that was just the registration fee. Now, I was talking to my mother about the beauty pageant, and she said that I would not be able to do it because at the time, $380 was something that she did not have. I became sad, and she said, don't worry, because as one door closes, the other one opens. Now, I was like to myself, you know, I don't want to hear any lessons. I just want to do this beauty pageant. So I went in my room and I did the best thing that I always do when I'm sad, listen to my music. A few weeks later, after I was beginning to forget about the beauty pageant, a letter from John Roberts came in the mail saying that they would like me to come to an open audition. Once again, these same thoughts popped in my head. Who, what, when, where, why, how? How did they get my name? I didn't sign up for John Roberts. What was this? We went to the John Roberts audition, and at first I was pretty self-conscious because these girls were taller than I was, and trust me, I'm pretty tall. These girls were also thinner, and they seemed to have all the self-confidence that I lacked. As I went to John Roberts, I was given a paper, and I was told to rehearse these lines. At first, I saw the girls running frantically, about to rehearse their lines, and as the man said, all the girls from numbers 1 through 30 line up. So as we lined up and I settled in, and I began to watch all the girls repeat, this year my brother's going to college, and I finally get to wear his Levi's denim jacket. I knew to myself that I could do this, and it was a piece of cake. The First girl said it, and I didn't think she was a shoo-in. Second girl said it, she wasn't good. Third, fourth, fifth, so on, up until number 21. I knew I had saw nobody that was good. As I got to number 22, the man said, number 22. At first, I didn't hear him, because I was still drifting off laughing about how the other girls had made such hideous mistakes. So, he said number 22 again, but this time he didn't say it nice, he said it with an attitude. So, I had to say to him that I was sorry because I didn't hear him. He said, okay. So he came in and he said slate. Most of the girls didn't know what slate was. It's basically saying your name and your age, any information that you think they will possibly need. And he was explaining to me what slate was, and I told him I knew what slate was. He said, okay, so do it. So at this time, I was just smiling to myself because I knew he was getting a little bit intense. So I began to say my name and my age and basically anything I think that he could do. So he said, okay, I saw 21 girls do this. Make this something I didn't see. I had to take a second and think to myself, and only a second, how could I make this performance different from the 21 girls before me, but not changing it dramatically? So I thought to myself, why not be a cowboy? Or, in my terms, a cowgirl. He said I could do whatever I wanted. So at this point, I had moved a little forward, and I said to myself, how could I do this? So I took another second, and I briefly just thought. And I said to myself, okay, we could do this. So he said, whenever you're ready. I said, okay. And then I stood there for a while. And then he said again, whenever you're ready. And this time I knew he was getting a little frustrated because I wasn't taking the cues that he was giving me. So I had to say to myself, okay, I just have to do this, shy or not. So I said, okay, I'm going to be a cowgirl. So I said, okay. I said, woo! This year, my brother's going to college. And you know what that means. I get to wear his Levi's denim jacket. And at first, I thought the man was mad because I was acting like a cowgirl. And I realized that, we weren't on the rodeo. But then after a while, he seemed to get a little happy and he smiled. And I didn't see him smile up until I did what I did. And then he said, okay, thank you. And then he said, after this, walk straight inside and you'll have a 1-minute interview. Now, my head was just shaking because at this moment, I was like, a 1-minute interview? You can't do that much in 1 minute. You probably can't even fall asleep in 1 minute. So he said, so that when I walked inside, I was interviewed by a lady. She said, okay, you're everything that we're looking for. You're tall, you're skinny, and we're pretty. And you're pretty. So I started smiling because, she told me I was pretty. And that's something that I wanted to hear. So she said that after everybody is finished with their audition, they'll review it, and after they review it, they'll call you back. And if they don't call you back, then you should call them back, because what they're gonna do is tell you whether or not if you made it. The next day I had to go to school, so the lady, she had called my house, and she told my mother out of 200 girls, I was one of the top 12 girls that they decided to pick. Woo! But however, John Roberts this time will cost $1,300. So I said to myself, I told my mother, I thought you said when one door closes, the other one opens. She said the door did open, but I thought to myself that if the door opened, then I was supposed to be in John Roberts and start modeling. She said sometimes things don't work out the way you want them to. So this time I really became sad, and I don't think any music could have made me happier or anything. So I just went in my room and I started laying down. And I began to analyze to myself that the best thing for me to do is to focus on my education. So in a few years, I'll be graduating from high school and going on to college to study law. But I think it's pretty fair for me to say that I still have an interest in the show business. So for anyone who's out here who's interested, I'm 5'8", I have dark brown eyes and black hair. I wear a size 9.5 shoe, and I'm 14. Thank you.